You tell yourself you have high standards, but the reality is terrifyingly different. You just have a desperately low tolerance for human imperfection. The moment someone shows a single flaw, you diagnose them, you block them, and you run away. You sit there, staring at the screen, swiping left, right, left. You look at an endless grid of human faces, and you feel absolutely nothing. It's like standing in front of a massive, glowing feast while starving. But every single dish looks like ash. You go on a date, they sit across from you, the ice clinks in their glass, they laugh, they seem fine. But then, they say one wrong thing. They show one tiny crack in the armor, a hint of insecurity, a flash of neediness, and your chest goes cold. You feel the immediate urge to run, to pack up and vanish. You tell yourself, I know what this is, I've been hurt before. But why? Why does the search for connection feel like walking through a minefield? And why does everyone suddenly feel unlovable? But here's the brutal truth. We love to blame the apps. We blame Tinder. We blame the paradox of choice. We say social media ruined romance. We scroll through our feeds, watching another 30-second video from a life coach in a pristine, spotless living room telling us to cut out toxic people, to protect our energy, and to never settle. We nod along, we feel empowered. Wait, hold on, stop right there. The apps aren't the villain here. The dating pool hasn't suddenly mutated into a swamp of unlovable monsters. The real villain, the thing that is actively destroying your capacity to love, is your own biology, hijacked by the hyper-rationalization of your emotions. It is the weaponization of therapy language. To understand why you feel so empty, we have to look at how your brain has been fundamentally rewired. Let's talk about dopamine. Most people think dopamine is the chemical of pleasure. It is not. Dopamine is the chemical of motivation. It is the drug of anticipation. Look at the famous neurobiology experiments with monkeys. A light comes on, the monkey presses a lever, and it gets a squirt of sweet juice. When do you think the dopamine spikes? It doesn't spike when the monkey gets the juice. The massive spike happens the exact moment the light comes on. The brain is screaming, the reward is coming. The anticipation is mathematically more powerful than the actual reward. Now, translate this brutal science to your life. The notification on your phone, the new match, the first text from a stranger, that is the light coming on. Your brain floods with dopamine. You're addicted to the infinite potential of a perfect person. You build them up in your head. But then, you go on the date, you sit across from them, you get the juice, and the reality of a flawed, flesh and blood human being with awkward pauses and bad jokes feels incredibly boring compared to the fantasy. You have trained your brain to chase the cheap thrill of the swipe. You have lost the stamina to endure the slow, unglamorous, often tedious reality of actually building a bond. Just like a gamer who can only play fast-paced shooters and gets bored by a slow cinematic masterpiece, you have lost your attention span for real love. And instead of admitting this, instead of admitting that our brains are fried, we created a shield. In 1956, the philosopher Erich Fromm warned us about this in his book, The Art of Loving. He argued that modern society would eventually warp our souls to the point where we treated love like a capitalist market exchange. We stopped being practitioners of love and became consumers of it. When you buy a brand new phone, you expect it to work perfectly out of the box. If the screen has a scratch, you return it. Fromm realized we started doing this with human beings. We expect our partners to come factory reset, fully healed, perfect, ready to serve our emotional needs without friction. This is where modern therapy language becomes a weapon. You aren't looking for a person anymore. You are shopping for a product, and the moment you see a scratch on that product, your brain, trained by thousands of hours of pop psychology content, diagnoses the scratch as a fatal defect. He didn't text back fast enough. He has an avoidant attachment style. She got overly upset about a misunderstanding. She has borderline traits. They raise their voice during a stressful argument. They are a toxic narcissist. Do you see what's happening? We use these heavy, clinical words as an escape hatch. The first error is no longer seen as a human failing. It is sentenced clinically as an incompatibility. We flee. We run away. And the most sickening part, we justify our own cowardice by calling it self-care. We use therapy speak because it gives us the illusion of control. If they are toxic, we are the innocent victims. We don't have to look in the mirror. We don't have to compromise. We don't have to do the dirty, painful work of forgiveness. So, how do you stop? How do you break out of this sterile, lonely matrix and actually experience the raw, messy reality of connection? You need a hard reset. You need a transition from a consumer of relationships to a builder of relationships. Here are 4 brutal, necessary shifts you must make to rewire your brain for love. Number 1, the attention retraining. You must drop the clinical shield. Stop diagnosing the people around you. Unless you have a PhD and this person is paying you an hourly rate, you are not their therapist. You are their partner. When you slap a label on someone, you strip away their humanity. You reduce their complex, messy, bleeding life into a neat little box that you can easily discard. Next time your partner's difficult, stop asking your friends, "Is this a red flag?" Instead, ask yourself, "Is this a human being having a moment of weakness?" You have to retrain your emotional attention to sit through the awkwardness. People are allowed to be flawed. Learn the difference between a genuine pattern of abuse and a simple, ugly mistake. Number 2, kill the linear healing fallacy. You must destroy the fantasy of the fully healed person. This is the biggest, most damaging lie of the modern self-help industry. The idea that you must be 100% complete, perfectly cured, and radiating pure light before you can enter a relationship. It is absolute garbage. If we all waited until we were completely healed to love, the human race would go extinct by winter. Baggage is inevitable. You have it. They have it. You will never find someone fresh off the assembly line. Love is not about finding someone without scars. It is about looking at their scars, looking at their trauma, and deciding that you are willing to help carry the weight of their history while they help carry yours. Healing does not happen in a vacuum. True healing happens inside the friction of a relationship. Number 3, strategic abstinence. You need a dopamine fast from the illusion of choice. Step away from the marketplace. Delete the apps for a month. Stop casually dating just to fill the silence in your bedroom. When you constantly have a revolving door of first dates, your brain never has to commit to solving a problem. You just swipe to the next face. By enforcing a period of abstinence, you force yourself to sit with your own emptiness. You reset your dopamine baseline. And when you finally return to dating, you will no longer be looking for a quick hit of validation. You will be looking for a foundation. Number 4, modulate the challenge. You need to redefine what a boundary actually is. You have to hack the difficulty of your own expectations. Right now, your boundaries are brick walls. You use them to shut people out the second your nervous system feels uncomfortable. I don't have the emotional capacity for this. I am protecting my peace. Real boundaries do not look like walls. They look like bridges with strong guardrails. True boundaries are meant to protect the relationship, not just your fragile ego. They are rules of engagement. They say, "I love you, but we will not speak to each other this way." They are meant to keep you both safe while you fight for each other. Not to give you a convenient excuse to abandon ship at the first sign of a storm. Lower your expectations for perfection, but raise your standards for resilience. The friction isn't a bug in the system. The friction is the feature. True intimacy is forged in the fire of conflict, in the terrifying moments where you both screw up and you both choose to stay. We live in a cold, analytical era that wants to sanitize the human soul. We want the warmth of the fire without the risk of getting burned. We want the reward without the sacrifice. But you cannot have it. It does not exist. The people haven't gotten worse. Love hasn't died. Our expectations have simply become unnatural. We forgot that we are animals made of blood, bone, and memory. We are not lines of code waiting to be debugged. If you want real love, you have to step out of the sterile clinic, put down the diagnostic manual, accept the beautiful, terrifying mess of human imperfection. Stop consuming people and start building a life with them. If this struck a nerve, if this made you uncomfortable, you are already waking up. If you want to dive deeper into the dark psychology of why we self-sabotage, click the video on the screen right now about the Stoic approach to loneliness. Subscribe to the channel. face the truth, and I'll see you in the dark.